The middle guy. I'm new here, so hello to everyone. Last October I discovered my wife had been having EA's texting, dirty texting, and flirting for just over 2 years. The whole thing really has devastated me and got me to the point where I had to get medicated. Just hard for me to believe that other man could have that much control over the woman I love. The day I found out, she broke everything off and has had no contact since, and has been a much better wife than what I had before, but there are still so many issues with me. On D-Day, trying to deflect some blame, she asked me if I had ever cheated on her. I really wanted to tell her the truth about that. Not to hurt her, but because I feel like total crap for the man I was for so long. She was not the only one in this marriage who has been unfaithful. I look at me and know the truth is I've been unfaithful for nearly the entire 9 years we've been married. I was even cheating on her when we were still dating. My friends, family, co-workers, none of them know about the person that I have been. At work I am the boss and never once went out of line in any way with a female employee. I've used the computer and my business travel to link up with the secret acquaintances over the years. I stopped my bad behavior 4 months before D-Day on my own. I really felt total guilt for the rotten person I had been, so I decided that I was going to treat my wife right and make the marriage better and shift my attention to where it belongs. By then it was too late. Due to years of neglect, compliments of me, my wife had already gone astray. All day she would be texting back and forth between her and one of the other man. In all, 30,000 text messages in a year. Reading the messages gave me that sick feeling. I never got into texting that much with any women. I never had any feelings for the women that I was chasing, just lust and that need for more. Over the time I've been with my wife, I've done mostly PIA but never felt emotionally attached in any way to anyone. I never led anyone on to believe that I wanted more from them than just a little fun. I totally know how wrong I've been. Some days I feel I am truly getting what I deserve. I'm devastated for many reasons, most of all feeling like my selfish actions are what got us to this, so I find myself blaming me. I live with a lot of guilt. I feel guilty for feeling as hurt as I am by her cheating on me. What I did was worse. I'll never know why I've been a cheat for so long. I've cheated on practically every woman I ever cared about. Somehow, I think me feeling guilty and doing something bad would justify them leaving me, because I always felt even the best thing would eventually come to an end. I always thought of it that way. I think the more I cared about someone, the more worried it all made me. I hate how the times since we've been married, when I've been tempted, I didn't say no. I chose to do what I did and I'll live with it. At least my wife has my forgiveness, but for me, I'll never know if I would have had hers. I now truly realize just how horrible it is to cheat on a spouse. I will never behave the way I have again. My wife was out of control with her behavior, but the sad thing was, so was I for much longer. While I could have been spending time making my wife feel loved, I was busy setting up the next playtime. I even cheated with other married women. I feel so bad that I was the OM. I was responsible for hurting someone else's family the way my wife's OM hurt mine. I look at my life and wonder a few things. I can't help but feel like my wife happens to be a person like me. I wonder if it's our nature to lock up the one we want and mess around for the thrill, although my version of messing around was more extreme, whereas hers involved other men telling her the things she wanted to hear and paying attention to her. We both have the appetite for attention. On D-Day she told me how none of them ever meant anything to her. Sad thing is, I'd have said the exact same thing. She dumped the OM just like that without even a second thought, like they didn't matter. I'm not taking comfort in that, just thinking how it would have been if it were the other way around. I was never looking for the upgrade during all my years of infidelity, just something else. I already knew what I had was what I wanted. She was very embarrassed that I knew everything when I confronted her. It drove me crazy that my wife would do this to me. I just think of how this must be payback for my years of lowlife behavior. At times I almost didn't want her to be sorry because I knew how bad I was. I've learned a lot from all this. I won't be going back to being the man I was anytime soon. I don't want to tell her the truth because I don't want her to believe that I am just out to inflict pain on her as a revenge attack. She is also far more jealous than I am, and who knows what she would do. I don't want her seeking out the O and planning attack on them. To me, the little affairs really meant nothing, so I'm not sure if I ever want to open that can of worms. I'd be afraid it might ruin our relationship. Throughout the marriage she has been somewhat controlling and has accused me of cheating the entire time. What's sad is when she was accusing me, I wasn't. I might have looked at things differently if I felt trusted. I know that's no excuse, but when you call someone bad often enough, it becomes who they are. If ever she would have said something to me like, "I really trust you," I think my guilt would have kicked in and I might have been able to stop myself. She always made me feel like I was a cheater and person who couldn't be trusted. I went outside the relationship just like she did to hear nice words. The sad thing is, during her computer EA's period we got along very well, never fought, and in the last 6 months of it we're having the greatest bonding of our relationship. Other man would turn her on with the sexy talk and then she took it out on me. I wished I could have been like that with her when I was cheating. There was one main OM who served as main manipulator, enabler. He lived a few thousand miles away, as did most of them. She met him and they were friends through this game they played online. After a while it went off the slippery slope with the things they were saying. He tells me on D-Day that if I divorce her, he will have her. I just gave her a choice and she chose me. There were 13 other men, usually a man a month till she got bored, then she found another. It all hurts knowing. Over a year and a half, she never left the house as she was in a depression over her mother's passing. Not to work, not leaving period. We have kids too, so I don't think anyone came over. She claims it didn't go physical, but I'll never know for sure. I was wrapped up in my job mostly. Then after that came the screwing around. I'd maybe have 2 women a year. I didn't put a whole lot of time into it. I didn't have much time. The little I did should have gone to my wife. I was making lots of money and letting all the success ruin me as a man. I bought whatever she wanted but never took the time out of my busy life to notice my wife. I think back to how good of a wife she was and all she did for me. What helped me change my ways was Christ. I started attending church about a year ago, and one day things just hit me. My pastor was up talking about me when he was talking about the deeds I have done. I knew that day I had to change my ways. A person can't always change how they feel at a moment, but they can change what they do. I accepted Christ not long after, and I knew I had to keep my promise with God that I would step away from the man I was and honor my wife. Christ also gave me the grace I needed on D-Day. I comforted my crying wife, who was very afraid of losing me. I felt like I didn't deserve her. I was truly a moron for doing the things I did. I have a wife that you could line up men to be with, and I was insensitive, uncaring, whiny, just about everything that would turn a woman off and drive her away. The day I accepted Christ, I went through flashbacks of everything I had done wrong in the marriage. I worked very hard at being the husband she wanted and needed, but the sad thing was by that point she had gone astray. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Right now, we are both in a better place than we have been in years. I was very ready to be a good man and husband, and after D-Day she was ready to be a good wife. What she did really hurts. If anything will keep me an honest man, it is the pain that I have felt since D-Day. I can't imagine putting her through that. Then on top of it, I feel I have only myself to blame. I was so close to losing the woman of my dreams. I feel lucky this marriage has a second chance. She wrote me a letter a few weeks after D-Day that I kept. It said in that letter how we always make it. It made me cry reading that. I just wondered if she knew the things I did, if we would make it, and then I thought this was a woman who was waiting for me to return from a whole person I became. She was just waiting, biding time with talking to men that meant nothing, waiting for me. Knowing that hurt. I'm easily worse. While I didn't put the time into my actions, she did. My actions lasted through the course of our marriage. I made myself available physically to other women throughout the marriage. I lied much longer than she did. Had I put just a little effort into my marriage and gave her the romance she needed, I doubt it would have come to that. Her relationship with the 13 men over a year period boiled down to texting most of the day. For her, it was someone who was fun to talk to. They entertained her and took her mind off me. When she got bored talking, she moved on. All 13 were out of state according to the phone records. She's a very fine-looking woman. It could have been far more than 13, lol. I did do some investigating to see just who, but I didn't need to tell them to go away. She did. I think now's a bad time too, but I have no idea when's a good time for something like this. I want to save my marriage, not destroy it. If I tell her, I stand the chance of not only having her go wayward on me again, but the chance of losing her. The fact that I neglected her the way I did is bad enough. I felt some of that when she was neglecting me in the months leading up to D-Day, when I was really trying, yet she was neglecting me to talk to the unknown other mans of the secret life who were more exciting. It really hurt and still does. See, the new me got hurt, yet that doesn't take away the bad things I did in the past. The extent of my physical affairs was a few one-night stands a year. I would not want to know if my wife did this. It would be more hurt than I think I could stand. Some things are better left unsaid. Wife, he is very needy and pretty much watched my every move until she started cheating, and even after that was still checking my email and deleting friends off of Facebook. My wife knows the game and knows how it all works just as I do. Sometimes I wonder what else is out there. I'd feel guilty looking to find out. I'm not saying because it was a one-night stand that made it okay. I'm saying that there was no emotional connection between me and the other women other than friends. What was I thinking? I cheated because of the power that it made me feel. There's a high associated with doing something bad. I was addicted to these feelings and knowing that I could have other women. For me, it's a very powerful pull. Life as an adult has been so different than life as a child. I wasn't the guy that the girls wanted growing up. I didn't have the nice clothes and other material things the wanted people had. I lived in a small town. Once I left there, I was amazed to find out I was wanted. It's been something I have a hard time accepting. Both me and my wife grew up in similar family situations where there was substance abuse. I was made scapegoat when things got abusive. Most of my life I felt pretty bad about me. It's easy to do bad things when that's who you think you are. It's like it comes naturally. I've been a cheater and a workaholic for reasons only to prove something. I was most obsessed with success and would do anything to get it. I badly wanted to be the guy who had it all. I already was the guy who had it all. My days of the game and the scam are over. I am permanently changing my ways. The fact is, I did what I did and nothing I do now will take any of it back. I feel I'm better to spare my wife and my family the pain. We have a very happy home and our children are doing very well. You have to understand. Besides the random cheating, I have been a good husband who has at times neglected his wife. No man will be perfect there. I've never hung at the bars and always went home to my wife. The thing that I did that drove my wife to depression was the workaholic part of me that emerged in the Great Recession and blamed himself for the people I had to lay off. My whole life became my job. Still though, the only thing that made me stop being a cheater was Christ. It shouldn't bother so many of you that Christ was finally the thing to do it for me. I don't consider myself the self-righteous holy roller type, just a man who has made numerous mistakes. My best friend at work, who is also a cheater like me, is no longer a cheater because of what I told him. This was the one person who I would share the adventures with over the years. I told him how we were living aimless lives, and underneath it all stood for nothing. I don't know how for the life of me I could choose another woman for a moment, but I did, and it's hard to come to grips with. For so long I was able to switch gear in my mind and put my wife in another place in my mind while I did these things. I've been around so many other guys that are cheaters that I almost believed this is a normal thing for guys to do. My first boss when I was 18 was a married cheater. I worked at a fitness club back then and was caught by him and his fling with a woman using the whirlpool after hours. When I asked him if I was fired, he told me he would give me a raise. He was a man who approved womanizing. We started a business and I worked with him for a few years. He lived two separate lives and made my behavior that I have told you all about look like child's play. My dad died when I was young, so he was like my mentor. He taught me many good lessons in life that contributed to future success, but taught me that cheating is what successful people do. He had a pregnant wife and was constantly out screwing someone else's wife, telling me this was right. I was there to witness everything while being told by the only older guy I respected in life, this is what you do. It filled my emptiness, I guess. I still talk to him to this day. I often think about those days and wonder if he has changed. I haven't asked. I'm too afraid to. They have 3 kids now. Unlike my wife, his wife was trusting and oblivious the entire time. My wife isn't trusting because she knows the game. She's been a cheater too and knows everything to look for. She once told me that she had cheated on every man she had ever been with back when we were dating. She grew up with a cheating father in the house setting the example. She saw how her mother spied on her father. I know it's horrible for you all to hear. It feels horrible to tell. I have a very hard time believing in people. Her infidelity forced me to stop and think about all I've done and wonder just what's wrong with us. Our children know nothing of any of this. I don't want history to repeat itself and add any more screwed up people to this world. I am truly sorry for what I have done. I truly love my wife. Well, I've done it. Telling someone about something this bad isn't something a person just springs, but the time came. She asked me and I could no longer hold out who I have been. Right now, she's not talking to me. I can't say I've ever felt worse. I'm working out of town right now and think I may just forget about everything and head home. I don't know what I can do. All I know is that I will do the work, whatever it takes to fix this, even if it takes a very long time. I'm completely through being a selfish man, even if that means I pay the ultimate price. I wish I could be talking to her right now, but she won't talk to me. I really hate me for who I've been. I feel some sense of relief on my side, but can't imagine the utter pain she is in. Like you all said, she's realizing why at times she didn't have a husband. I don't know what's going to happen to me. I have to be able to function because my family is depending on me. I'm not much for living at the moment. I'm trying my best to talk to her. Who I've been and why isn't easy to explain. I will stay in the marriage even if that means her being pissed at me for years. I won't stay if this is only an excuse for her to go out and have another affair. I want to move forward with infidelity over on both sides. We've both done some deeds, and as mentioned above, we have nothing when the cards aren't on the table. She's disgusted with me and should be. I know this isn't something to heal quick. I'm still hurt myself by what she did, so I can totally understand her feelings. I don't have the right to be pissed off by anything she says to me. I feel I deserve it. When you're a cheater like me, you are able to go to another place in your mind when you are feeling very bad feelings. I had some really sick things happen to me growing up. Things I just can't share with anyone. This was the place I went when these things were happening. I don't know how you get help for that. I'm prepared for the worst and in no way will I be fighting back. I know I'm a hypocrite. Part of me really hopes that she can somehow understand that I share so many of her feelings and lack of trust. I learned so much about her these past few months. Knowing we were very similar as people and needed to be open about what we both had done. I kept a part of me all my life secret from the people I loved because I believed if I did that I wouldn't be hurt. I need to just be calm and do the best I can to bear with it till I get through her anger and to the person she is. I know this is so hard for her. I was the one person she thought she could trust and she was so wrong about me. I felt the exact same way when I found out. I finally really vested myself into someone, buying into them 100%, and then I found out. Earlier today I considered just mentally checking myself out. Instead, I have spent my time talking to my horribly pissed off BW. Whatever happens here, life will have to go on. Sure, I have issues, but so does everybody. I'm not sure if I should just expect the worst and visualize the single life or just hang in there and deal with it. I don't think the single life would be good for me. I have a high tendency to abuse drugs. I've always loved the bad stuff. The married life always kept me from self-destruction. I just don't want to live through this uncertain mess I've created. I do feel better that she knows I'm guilty. I just don't know what to do. Right now, I feel like just getting so high I feel nothing. I'm such a jerk I can't stand it. Things sound really bad. I think I'm just going to mentally start preparing for a divorce. I just don't see how we get through this. Truthfully, I don't think my wife is much better than me. Just my thoughts at the moment. 2 days post D-Day and we are still here. I'm stopping myself from any blame shifting. I know I'm wrong her. She is still with me. We are going to watch our daughter play basketball. Mama loves watching and so do I. I think my chances of forgiveness are pretty good. I will continue to keep my cool no matter what. I have a feeling of true relief. Not to whether she's leaving but that I am acting in a genuine way. I'm grateful for her at least giving me the chance to earn true trust. She deleted every female friend I have off Facebook. I've agreed to 100% transparency. There will never be any secrets to hide. I want my wife in my family. No woman ever made me feel the way she does. I've spent the last 3 months feeling in limbo since her D-Day and wanting to come clean. I want to be a true believer and not a hypocrite. I haven't turned my attention away from my wife since I accepted Christ. I couldn't live with my lies of the past. What's really tough is how she says she can't believe it and always thought I'd never be that way. I hid things so well nobody would have ever thought. I do think she's taking it well. I don't think she has been an angel herself. Knowing what I've done and knowing what I caught her doing, 80 or so texts a day to other men, pics to many other men as far as 3 years back, I strongly believe she's been pretty bad herself. She was capable of being that way in times when we got along great and doing this while she had slept with me 3 or more times a week. My gut tells me she's handling this right now because she knows she's no better, possibly worse. I could go into details of people and situations that may have been a possibility. I'm wondering what's possibly next. I'm not going to pry. I don't need to know the past. I'm just wondering why. No matter what she confesses to, I will not be bitter and be willing to work to make our marriage what it should have been all along. I'm not questioning anything. It is what it is and we both have made mistakes. I'm happy I haven't lost my family over my selfish ways. I never stopped and thought of the consequences. I just believed what she didn't know wouldn't hurt her. I haven't known many men who didn't cheat. So many of the men I know would sleep with a hot woman if they had the chance. What makes me worse is I went out looking for the situation. Most men are not that bad. It's been easy avoiding the old situations. I just don't go looking and avoid getting personal with women other than my wife. I would bet she did get physical. Knowing how similar we are, she may be bad as me. We had very similar childhoods and have many of the same insecurities. We are both in help and on the same meds. Us talking through things gives me the hope we can be fixed. I've been morally weak in the ways of infidelity but just about a shining star everywhere else. I manage 60 employees and none would ever believe who I've been. I've always been a loving guy. I treat my employees the way I would want to be treated. I've been a good father to my girls. I was doing most of the work when Mama went wayward for her 3 or so years. She missed many good memories. I took them shopping for clothes and little girl stuff and coached their teams. My infidelity did not dominate my life, but it was there. I started attending church for the benefit of my girls who knew nothing. A new pastor reached me one day. The year and a half before that I was missing the message. He took the time to meet with me. The day I accepted Christ as my Savior was as good as a contract. I had a lot happen to me after that, most of all a true understanding of the fraud I'd been and an overwhelming desire to fix my marriage and pull me and my wife together. We were getting closer, but unknown to me she was still cheating. That aspect really hurt me. Me finding out has been necessary so we can sort our issues. Other man was never a factor, just blip on the screen who never stood a chance against me, just as O was to her. I never gave any other woman my heart. I have a contract with God and will honor that, as He knows. I will be an honest man. I revealed my long-time infidelity last week. Things were bad the first day, then didn't go too bad the following days, but today I am out of town and she is really taking it to me. I'm doing all I can, being apologetic. Yes, I just need a little moral support for the moment because I feel really down. I know she has to vent and I have to live with it, but this is very hard. I feel so bad about me. I know this is going to be long and slow and I have to do it on my own. Nothing is certain. I feel like a leaf in the wind. I look forward to better times when we can focus on us and I can do all the little things she needs to make this up to her. I know she has to grieve. It's just so hard on me too. I offered over a year ago to find a different job that works for our family. I am so tired of being on the road. She doesn't want me to quit because of the money. I've always let her drive my company car. One of the benefits is I get practically any choice of a car and get to order all the fancy stuff. She loves it. I know it's hard for some people here to imagine I could be a good person in any way, but I always gave my wife anything she ever asked me for besides my faithfulness. I always went big for Christmas, Valentine's Day, and birthdays. I could care less anymore about money. It's not worth 2 cents to me. I'd be happy to sell the nice home and give up some of the material possessions and move into a less expensive home so that I could be with my family every night. I know I deserve what I get. In my mind I want to just throw in the towel because I don't know how long I will last like this. I know I won't, but that's how I feel. I know. What did I expect? Like the song, I just want to go home. My comment, When you detach, then you can finally go home. You won't have a proper home with this woman. Part 2 ending coming soon. Sub and see you in the final end.